this up, I think. Go for it. Just, it's cranked.
This is what I get for 3 years at Ryerson RTA. You know where the audio is, you know where the volume is. Thank you very much. Pardon me, I'm finishing up A Fisherman's Friend, and if anybody knows Kevin Curry,
Oh, yeah.
they know these suckers. I remember seeing him a while ago when I visited him at the co-op, and I took him some of these, and he said, I can't chew them. And I said, why not? Well, my mouth is just a mess, I just can't have it right now. But sure enough, I think he eventually got them. So I'll never forget Kevin, except for Fisherman's Friends, and it's just the regular extra strength ones. Excuse me. First, I would like to extend condolences on behalf of Elaine and myself to Sean and Scott and the entire Currier family. I met Kevin Currier in 1986 on a warm day in June. I had just been hired as an operator technician at radio station CJRT. After 6 years of study at Ryerson, I was finally launching my professional career in broadcasting. Even though we didn't know it at the time, it would be the start of a beautiful friendship. We became fast friends. In fact, he insisted on it. Over time, our bond grew because it was based on respect, brotherly love, and a deep, passionate appreciation of music, baseball, and of course, movies. One of the first projects we worked on was in March of 1990 when he, Donald Brackett, and I prepared a demo of a show called Musical Chairs. That 1 hour demo was finally shared with the world on Critics at Large a couple of years ago. I encourage you to listen to it. Sadly, the pilot never amounted to a series, so we never worked on anything together for another 18 years. But up to that time, we remained connected, often getting together over a Szechuan meal and talking at length about everything we could, from music, movies, politics, and the collected works of Frank Zappa. During these years, Kevin was usually working on a book, including one about Captain Beefheart called Trout Mask Replica, published in 2007. Enthralled with the series of short, small books about rock albums known as 33 1/3, I thought the idea of doing a radio show based on the series would be a good one. Naturally, this came up during one of our many conversations. One book, one author, one album. With about 45 books in the series, we had a supply of good albums and stories to tell. Besides, it was a really good excuse to work with Kevin after CBC laid him off in 2005. He understood so much about how to prepare and produce a good radio show. I really felt it was time for him to get back on the air. We drafted a pitch, and the CBC gave us a chance to produce a pilot episode. I handled the production tasks, while Kevin handled the script. We called the pilot From Ear to Ear, and it featured the Canadian group The Band and their first album, Music from Big Pink, which recently celebrated 50 years. Naturally, as these things go, the show evolved into an 8-part series called RPM, Indispensable Canadian Albums. The work was exhilarating, and with the help of Greg Diamond, Kevin's longtime associate at CBC Radio, we came up with some fine documentaries about our favorite music. Working with him in the studio, I came to the conclusion that Kevin Currier always liked the sound of his own voice. Maybe I should put that another way. His voice defined him. What he valued, what he liked, what he hated, but mostly what he loved about people, music, literature, and movies. After working with Kevin so closely on these projects, including our work up into 2012, he always seemed to be in a constant state of learning. He loved ideas and alternative points of view, and he really liked to express his appreciation for great art. He was one smart guy. Often I was no match for his powerful intellect and his versatility. I can remember having lunch with him and talking about his beloved Montreal Canadiens. I was astounded by his magnificent powers of observation and his keen sense of where the Canadiens' defense was so faulty. He was so good that I thought he should be hired as a color commentator. Wearing his trademark beret, he would have been a good fit on Hockey Night. Kevin was very supportive of me, be it my writing or my career, or whatever else I was struggling with. He would have made a good therapist had he not chosen a career in media. That point was really brought home when he recommended me to write a book about Frank Zappa. I still can't believe it's in print, and that I wrote it, but Kevin believed in me, and I will always be grateful for this. When it was published, Kevin, albeit feeling tired and weak from a recent chemo treatment, came out for the book launch. It was a memorable moment. When he was diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago, Kevin said he would continue to live his life through the strongest parts of his body and let the treatments take care of themselves. His optimism in his last 3 years was nothing short of remarkable. Perhaps it was his strong moral compass that got him through the best of it and the worst of it. Was he brave? Probably not. Was he resilient? Absolutely. The love and support of his family and friends fueled his resilience. I often think about what American author John O'Hara once wrote in 1940 about one of his favorite people, George Gershwin, who passed away in 1937. Clearly affected by his death, but inspired by all the great music he left the world, O'Hara wrote in Newsweek magazine, George Gershwin died July 11th, 1937, but I don't have to believe that if I don't want to. I feel the same way about Kevin. He too left a legacy of great writing, radio docs, interviews, and thoughtful criticism. And yes, he died October 12, 2018. But I don't have to believe that if I don't want to. Thank you.